Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Happy and Healthy. I am your host, Jeanine Amapola, and welcome back to the podcast. Happy Tuesday, you guys. So just to let y'all know, I am actually filming this podcast on Thanksgiving Day. Yeah, no breaks, I guess. No, this was just the one day I could film this episode, and then I'm about to go to my family's tonight, and we're going to do a Thanksgiving thing there, and I already hosted the official Thanksgiving at my house on Sundays, so today is just way more chill. So I just wanted to sit down and chat with you guys because I wanted to enjoy the weekend off and make sure I had this podcast ready to rumble for Tuesday. So I hope you guys are having an amazing Tuesday. Like I said, it's Thanksgiving. There is so much to be thankful for. I'd love to hear on the Happy and Healthy Instagram what you guys are thankful for, what has been good, what's been bad this year, and all those things. I know you guys are listening to this podcast after Thanksgiving, but I just want to first and foremost just say how thankful I am for you guys and making this podcast possible, making it so fun for me. Always the feedback, you guys listening every week, people that donate, people that send in the voice messages. I mean, just everything. It has been so fun, you guys. So I hope your Thanksgiving was amazing and you really were just grateful for whatever is in life, the blessings that we do have. And I do want to let you guys know, and I hope no one gets sad at me or mad at me, but this will be the last episode of 2021. Yes, I know. So I will be taking a 2-month break. I do want to let you guys know. So this is going to be the closer of season 2, you guys. Season 2 was honestly amazing. I've loved every single guest. I've loved all the topics. And I just think I need to take a break. I'm going to be taking a break for the holidays and for January. I actually have a couple trips coming up. I'll be probably gone for like 11 or 12 days in December, actually more than that. I'll be gone quite a bit in December, quite a bit in January, and I'm also trying to use that time with my podcast coordinator to work on some fun things for you guys coming forward in season 3. So stay tuned, and also just trying to take some time off to really source some really cool guests for you guys. We really want to make sure we're on the same path and we are on the right track for season 3. So I will be taking a 2-month break off, and I did this last year as well after season 1. And that way I can just really refigure out what I'm doing and everything. And I just think it's really good for me mentally, especially during the holidays. I really want to be present. And so don't worry, season 3 will be coming soon. I think officially it'll be back around February 1st. So just stay tuned for that and all the announcements and everything on my Instagram and the Happy and Healthy Instagram. So don't get too sad, but you guys, this year has been literally amazing. I wanted to, for today's episode, just the last one of season 2, and before we head into the holidays, I wanted just to kind of go through my year and do a year in review of all the things that kind of happened, all the things I learned, all the things that God taught me, and just kind of some of my goals and my dreams going forward, and hopefully give you guys some encouragement and just ways I kind of saw God show up in my life this past year. And I just kind of wrote down some things, so I have some notes. If you're watching the YouTube video, I will be looking down at my notes a little bit. And if you guys don't know, we do post these on YouTube as well as TikTok. So TikTok, we have some fun clips on there. So please check out the TikTok for Happy and Healthy as well as the YouTube Happy and Healthy. And again, follow my Instagram. That is Jeanine Amapola. But thank you guys just for making this podcast possible. You guys truly are an amazing, wonderful support system. If you have loved this podcast in 2021, please leave me a review. That helps me so much. And you guys, just thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so thankful for y'all on this day, this lovely day of Thanksgiving, but I'm also thankful for you guys just all the time, truly. So, yeah, kind of sad that this is the last episode. I'm kind of like bummed out, but I will be filming a ton still over the break, trying to figure that out and just prepping as much as I can for season 3 and all that stuff. And so I hope you guys have loved this season thus far, but let's get into the last episode of season 2 and just my year in review of 2021, all my thoughts and things that I want going forward. Let's do it, you guys. All right, so 2021 was a much better year for me personally than 2020. I mean, as we all know, like, I don't even need to explain why 2020 was rough. I don't even need to say anything. Like, everyone knows, everyone had their own Deep sigh, just a deep sigh. Anyway, 2021 was so much better for me. Back in January is when I felt the big tug in my heart of like I'm going to move, like I'm doing this. I hadn't really officially announced it yet. I hadn't officially announced I was moving with Maddie. And so January is the year where I felt a tug on my heart to be obedient to the Lord, to move back to Texas. Like I said, I felt the Lord tell me that I was supposed to move back. And so that was when I was really getting my obedience challenge, because I was really like, no, like I could stay in California. I could live here. Like I could make this work. Like, why would I want to leave this like paradise? And I knew by me leaving, it would be disobedient. And I just felt like my chapter was closed there. I had gotten everything I needed to get out of California. I'm super thankful for it, but I just felt like the Lord was like, it's your time to go. Like, it's your time to be obedient and step into something new. And I think in January, I was still feeling like moving back to Dallas was taking a step back. Like, I was like, oh, like going back to your hometown, like that means that you're going to be like taking a step back. And I don't think that now anymore. I think I was honestly taking plenty steps forward moving back. I mean, I got to buy a house and some other things that were really good from this year that I just, I don't know if I can say it yet or not, but I mean, I don't know, like just other good things that have happened this year that I know I hate when I do that to y'all, but I'm just really trying to protect this certain thing, which maybe you guys can just know what that is. I'm just trying to protect it. But other just amazing things that happened this year. So that was February. I was house hunting. I kept coming back to Dallas and figuring that out. And then I went on a ski trip with some friends, which was literally amazing. Just so thankful for the community that I had in LA and just how God showed up and proved to me and showed to me this is why it matters who you surround yourself with. This is what community and people in your life are supposed to look like. And that was really, really evident. February, kind of the same thing, just community, tons of friends. We hung out so much before I moved, and that was when I was officially starting to sign papers for the house and really telling people like, hey, I'm letting you know, like I am officially moving. And that's also when I tore my UCL, which is a ligament in your arm. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can see it's like right back here. And so tore this ligament in my arm. It was like right before I was supposed to move. That was so brutal. I had doctor's appointments and doctor's appointments. And if you followed my Instagram during that, you guys saw it was like hell. It literally was. The doctors kept being like, we don't know. And like the appointments were all backed up and it was just kind of annoying, but also not the end of the world because my arm is Gucci now. But at the time I was like in a sling for like weeks and that was really weird. And I had to do physical therapy for months after that. Anyway, February is a good month. And then March is when I officially moved back to Dallas. I moved back to Dallas March 1st. And it was actually really, really cool because at this time back in February, I hadn't officially announced yet that I was living with Maddie. I hadn't officially announced that. And it was just really cool to see the Lord's timing of this because both Maddie and I had talked about how we really wanted to move back March 1st. And we had this whole timeline in our heads of like, you know, it'd be nice if we moved here, if we had a house. And originally we were like, all these plans are getting messed up. Like we might have to live in an apartment. So I started apartment hunting back in January and being like, hey, in case a house doesn't work out, like we might have to live in an apartment. And our dream was that we would get a house and that we would move March 1st. And all these little plans kept thwarting that. And all these little things kept having to thwart that. And God showed up and like literally March 1st, got to move in the house, got my house. That was the biggest blessing. And it just felt so sad leaving LA. I remember I bawled my eyes out. I was like sobbing, like literally sobbing. If you follow my Instagram and my vlog channel, you saw that. But moving back to Dallas, I really thought I was going to be missing LA a ton. And it was so weird. I missed more the people, but I didn't really miss the hard lifestyle of LA. It's a very hard city to live in. And so it felt just right moving back to Dallas. So March was when I felt God's provision and like the obedience being rewarded and him showing me like, this is why I had you move. And that was such a beautiful thing to see. So just a reminder for you guys that there's always blessings and peace. I wouldn't necessarily say peace sometimes, but there's always blessings on the other side of obedience, and it should be covered with peace because I believe if God's ordained it and God has told you to do something, you better do it because you're going to be blessed and he's going to provide for you. And it's not a weird prosperity gospel. It's not some manifestation thing. Excuse me, there's a burp. There's always a burp in the podcast. That's the one thing you can always get from me, which sucks. But it's not some manifestation type of thing. It's like, hey, you do this because you just love God and you want to obey him and he will bless you. And so that's kind of why I did it. And so it was cool. It was cool relinking back up with old friends in Dallas and being like, oh my gosh, these are cool friends I had before I moved away 3 years ago. However, it made me realize too that friendships were so different. Things were so much like different than I was expecting. People were married now, they were having kids. I kind of was like, who are my people here? And that was kind of hard, was finding out who were my friends. And so for a good minute there, it was just me and Maddie just doing our thing. And she was honestly the biggest blessing for me in 2021. I felt like the Lord told me back in September, like, hey, you're not supposed to live alone anymore, because I lived alone for 2 years. And so Maddie was a huge blessing to me in that season, and I am beyond grateful for her. So for the month of March, it was just her and I, kicking it off. And then it was kind of funny because back in March, right when I moved back, that's when this was so funny. And I really don't want to sound like cocky by saying this, but March was when like the old, how do I say this? This is when like the old men from my past, when I used to live in Dallas, like started coming back out of the woodworks, and they're like, hey, hello, and like making themselves more known. And I heard men were interested in me and like asking me out. And I was kind of like, ugh. And it was kind of awkward because there was, I think, one guy that I had to turn down because I was like, hey, I just moved back to Dallas. Like I was like, I am trying to figure this out. Like I don't want to get in a relationship right now. Like I'm still just like figuring out my life here. I want to be settled for a little bit. Want to know what I'm doing, who I am here with Maddie and all that stuff. Maddie and I had this birthday party back in March, and it was really cool because it was a reunion of all these old friends and new friends and Maddie's friends and my friends. And it was just so cool. And some of those friends that were at that birthday party are some of our best friends to this day. Like those are the girls that we have a solid friend group with now. And so I'm really thankful for that birthday party because we literally we're so crazy. Moved into the house March 1st, threw it like March 20th. And we had no furniture. We maybe had like one couch, one table, like we were both sleeping on air mattresses still, and we still threw a party at the house. It was so cool, but because of that party, I'm really blessed and I feel thankful. That's where we got most of our friends from, and it was really, really cool. So that was fun. April, I don't really remember what happened in April, to be honest. April kind of seems like a blur. I'm pretty sure I traveled and then just dealt with the house a ton that month, ordering a ton of furniture, figuring out life, like just living life with Maddie. We were starting to work out. We started going to this new gym and started going back to church and trying to figure out, hey, where do we want to go to church? Where do we want to get plugged in? What do we want to do? Which I'll get to that later. And just trying to figure that out. And so April kind of felt like a blur. I will say I did go on, I think, some dates in April. So that was kind of interesting. None of them like successfully worked out, but I did give, I think it was like 2 or 3 maybe 2 guys some chances. I remember Maddie was like, dang, Jay, like you're really going after it. And I was like, hey, like I'm down to just try and like see whatever. And so, went on some dates and those also did not work out. So that was interesting. So May was when I also went on a couple dates with this one guy, and that also did not work out. It was nothing against him, but something about like, when you're with the person and you feel like you're not your best self, or you kind of feel like, I just don't know, like something just doesn't feel right from the start, even though they're such a good person, like either it's there or it's not. And for me with this guy, I just remember being like, I just don't know. Like, I feel like I'd rather just see this guy as a friend. Like, he's really nice. He loves the Lord, but I just don't see it. And so after 3 dates, I gave him 3 fair shots. I basically was just like, hey, I'm so sorry, which is never fun. It's never fun to turn someone down, or to like, just, have to say no. And he was very sweet and appreciative, but that was kind of awkward as well. Also, I took a trip to Austin with some of my friends like Maddie and Connor Saley. And I can't remember who else. Yeah, Mike Johnson was there. A ton of my other Austin friends like Sammy and my friend Andrea and our friend Ian. Like we just kind of had a really, really fun crew and went to Austin for Memorial Day weekend. And that was really fun. And actually I went on a date that weekend too in Austin, which was also so freaking fun. That was kind of funny. So I didn't really like ever say this or anything, but I did get COVID in the month of May. That was my first time getting it. And so I ended up literally sitting at my house by myself. Maddie was gone. She was with her family. So I was alone for a very, very long time, like however long of the quarantine is. I think your infectious period is like 10 or 11 days, but Maddie was gone for a while. So I was literally alone for like 2 weeks. And oh my gosh, that was very, very miserable. Like being alone, I realized how we were just not meant to live life alone, like how we were not meant to be lonely. And it was so crazy how I was just craving community, craving anything, like FaceTime me, someone, like anyone. And so I spent a lot of alone time, like a lot. And it was hard. It honestly was like probably one of the harder months because, when you sit alone, your thoughts start spiraling and you start thinking about all these things that you were pushing aside. And so spent a lot of alone time, but also it was like the best God time. Like I would just worship in my house by myself and just had like amazing time with the Lord. And it was really sweet. Some of my friends came and dropped off like gift baskets for me and stuff. And my parents dropped off food for me, which was really, really sweet. But I just remember like saying hi from the door and being like, hi guys. Like it was really, really sad. So that was definitely an interesting month, but it was still good. I still learned a lot, but I also learned, man, I was not meant to be alone. I don't think any of us are meant to be alone. Like loneliness literally kills you. Like it really does. And so I see now why it's so important to have people, and people that are alone tend to be maybe more sad, or not necessarily if you're an introvert, that's like a different thing. But like if you're deeply lonely, like that is really hard. And I'm very sorry. And I really hope that that's something you can work through because it's just not fun. It's definitely not fun. And I felt that when I was having that, and I was just like, dang, that stank. Anyway, so that was that. June happened. I went to some weddings. I had some friends come in town. That's also the month when the floors in my house got destroyed, and that was honestly such a stressor. I know I've talked about this before, and it's not to complain, but owning a home has been way more stressful than I was ever expecting. I bought this house, and it was a little bit of an older house that was recently renovated and flipped, and there were some issues that I wasn't aware of, and so that was really frustrating because moved in, everything was going great, whatever. A ton of rain came in the month of May, and it literally like ruined my floors. Like apparently the foundation was cracked, which is like, you do not want your foundation cracked when you buy a house. And excuse me, I swear I have like acid reflux, golly. Anyway, so my floors got ruined, and that was the longest process of hell from literally literally June to like September. Like I'm kid you not. Maybe not May to September, just constantly like asking contractors, can you come over? Can you fix it? Can you fix it? Can you fix it? And kind of getting in arguments with contractors, which I never wanted to do. Not really arguments, but more just frustrations because they wouldn't show up. They would say, I'm coming over. They never would. The floors would keep getting messed up. They did like a cheap job. That was a little bit of a frustrating thing in the month of June. However, my floors are fixed now. Thank the Lord. And we are good to go. But that was something that was kind of hard. June is also when I went on my first international trip again. Anyway, June was the month that I went to Portugal with my best friend Penny. If y'all don't know, when I lived in California, I picked up surfing, and that was a really fun thing. Like I always had dreamt of being like a surfer and doing that, and I picked that up, and I would surf in LA, and I got to surf around the world. Like I've surfed now in Portugal, I've surfed in Hawaii, I've surfed in Costa Rica and Bali, and obviously California, like all up and down the coast of California. And I got to go on this brand deal trip with La Pointe to Portugal with my best friend Penny. And that was literally like a trip of a lifetime. That was my first international trip in a year and a half, because obviously during COVID and during 2020, no one was traveling internationally. And all the beginning months of this year, I wasn't going to travel international. So June was the month that I got to do that. And that just showed me just how much I love traveling. I love seeking adventure and the thrill, and also just getting quality time with my best friend. Like that was something that we had been longing for, because ever since I moved and she got married, things had changed, and that's kind of just part of life, as seasons are different and friends change and all that stuff. And so we had 2 quality weeks with each other, and that was just so fun. And Portugal is a beautiful country. I think the language is beautiful. Like it was just so freaking fun. So I feel very thankful that I got to go on that trip, and that was just such a blessing. And just getting to surf there was just unreal, like truly unreal. Today's podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. I'm a big proponent of counseling. It's something I've done in my life, and I really recommend it. And so if there's anything going on in your life and you just simply want someone to talk to, you want someone to help you, then that is where BetterHelp comes in. So BetterHelp is basically online professional therapy. I really do recommend this just because it's a safe place online that's done securely for you guys to talk to someone to get help. There's a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available. So if you're international, you can still use it. You can log into your account at any time and send a message to your therapist. They're committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches so that they make it easy and free to charge therapists if needed. And it's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. So definitely take advantage of this, you guys. If you want to look into it, there will be a special offer for happy and healthy listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/healthy. So make sure you guys use the code healthy. So feel free to go check this out and just find the help that you might need. I really do encourage it, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of today's episode. In July, obviously it was 4th of July. I went to Austin for that. There was a bachelorette party I went to. I had a weekend with my roommate, Maddie, alone. Sometimes that's been kind of hard, is that even though her and I are roommates, we both have such busy lives. We both travel so much that we have to literally like carve out, prioritize each other. Like, hey, we're going to spend a weekend together. And so we went to Fort Worth together and like got a hotel and did this cute little event together. And that was so fun. Like, we just love spending time with each other. We filmed some like funny TikToks and stuff like that. And so that was just really sweet. And I just love any quality time with her. And so that was really fun. And then also July is when I started to have severe anxiety and body issues. It was so weird. I had never really dealt with this type of anxiety before, and also just like insecurities with my body. I talked about this actually before in another podcast. I can't remember which one it was. I think maybe it was like What Life's Been Teaching Me or something, but this was the month when I was just severely struggling with that. I literally could not sleep every night. I would just wake up and my chest would be tight. My heart would be racing. I would be spiraling, overthinking everything. Like, I just didn't feel well at all. And it just got to the point where like I broke down and my body was literally like not okay. And I had to call a mentor, call some people. They were just like, you need to take a break. You need to step away. You need to stop posting on Instagram. You need to get it, like just trying to make sure I was okay. And because I literally was like thinking all these crazy thoughts about myself. Like, I suck and I'm not good enough and I want to quit my channel. And like, maybe this isn't for me. And maybe God doesn't actually want me to do this because I'm not good enough. And just like all these lies that I was just believing about myself. And I had to have people come in and speak truth over that and be like, no, like that is not the truth. Like, no. And so that's just, again, where I realized like how important it is to have mentors in your life and people speaking into you and people that know you and people that can be brutally honest with you. And that was just super crucial for me in that month. And I needed someone to tell me like, you need to take a break. You need to step away. You need to take care of yourself. Stop posting, yada, yada, yada. And so I'm really glad I did that because I was really struggling. And I'm really glad I just opened up about that and shared with some people and just let some people in on that, online and offline as well. And also just the body issues. Like I don't know if I fully opened up about this, but I feel like this past year, when you start living with someone, you start realizing, and again, when you live alone, like you don't know you have insecurities because you're living alone. Like, yeah, you have insecurities that I know of, but when you live with someone else, and this is actually why I wanted to live with someone. I wanted to deal with my crap. I wanted to know, where was I insecure? Where did I still have sin? Where did I still struggle? Where was I still selfish? Where did I still have pride or whatever? Living with someone will expose that, like truly. And so starting to like live with Maddie was started to bring out all these weird insecurities in me and weird things that I was thinking of and body issues and like just comparison. And I was like, okay, this is not right. This is ungodly. This is not okay. How am I going to deal with this? And so I opened up to Maddie more about that, and she got to help speak some life into that and speak to mentors about that. I called my old nutritionist and got some help from her as well. So that's just something I'm always going to encourage you guys is like, ask for help. Like if you are struggling, if you need someone to talk to, if you're struggling with just anything, like find someone and ask for help, ask for prayer, and let someone in to speak life and to speak truth in that. And so that was really helpful when I was struggling with that. And that was just an interesting month. It was very like kind of confusing for me. And also what's always hard is that the summertime, Texas has literally the longest summers. And so you're in a bikini like all summer. And I remember just feeling so insecure about my body and like, oh no, like you will not catch me wearing a two-piece, blah, 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 blah. Like just so like beating myself up. And so it's important for us to speak life over ourselves, speak truth over ourselves, but also it's like, hey, I know I feel like this right now, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to not be okay, but like, I don't want to stay here. What am I going to do to not stay here? So then I got back in the gym and I started speaking to mentors again and nutritionists and fixing my food and my diet because I had really like let myself go with that. And so my old nutritionist really got to help me out with that again, which was really, really important. So that was a little bit of a more of a lower month for me, I would say. Okay, so then August, I spent 2 weeks in LA. I went back to my old home, got to see all my friends again, got to film some podcasts there, got to get some headshots, get some work done there, and just kind of go back to my old home, which was really sweet. And it was really, really fun, but I also just feel like every time I go back to LA now, I am just so reminded that it's so evident why God wanted me to leave and why that's just not my city anymore. And it's, again, I've always said this, there's nothing against LA. I still love it. I still, love the city, have so much heart for it, and it taught me so much. I'm so thankful for it. However, I just fully know I'm like, I will never move back there. That is a hard city to live. I couldn't do it again. I'm done with it. Like, thank you, but next. Like, that's kind of how I feel with LA is like, thank you, but next. It's super fun to visit. I love seeing my friends there, love going to the ocean, love all that stuff, but I just feel like moving back to Dallas, it was the right choice for me personally. But again, nothing wrong with LA. Yeah, and I went to a Cowboys game that month, and I feel like I traveled maybe that month, but I don't know. Nothing in August distinctly sticks out to me. I know it was just a ton of girlfriend time. Oh, also something that I got to do this year is I got into a monthly Bible study, which was actually such a blessing. Our mentor is Jeanine. Maybe some of you guys know her. She has been, oh my gosh, the biggest blessing in my life. I'm going to have her on the podcast for season 3, so stay tuned for that. She mentors me and some of my friends once a month and just asks us some like really brutally honest questions and like, hey, tell me the truth about this, and really challenges us. So that was a really big blessing of this year as well, as I think that started around either May or June, something like that. And it was a once a month thing, and that was a blessing. And so that was something that we did in August as well. And I feel like around this time is when I started to get a little bit more solidified in my community of like, who are my people here? Who are my girlfriends here? Because honestly, that was really hard for me this year, was figuring out who are my friends. And even though I had friends, it's hard when you come from LA where I had literally the best community, people pouring into me, people praying for me, like, and vice versa, like an amazing Bible study, to coming back to Dallas and having to completely start over again. So that was kind of hard. But I feel like this was the month that I was kind of more figuring out like, okay, yeah, like, I know more of my group here, and my rhythm, which was really cool. But I just realized that even like this year, like, it is so important to have community Bible studies, be plugged into church. And I'll get into that because that's something that I want to talk about going forward, of a goal that I want to make, because I kind of struggle with that this year, but I realize that's really important. So I don't really know what else happened in August, to be honest, but yeah, that was that. Then September rolled around. I started off my started off my month in September with a conference called Awaken. I got to meet so many of my lovely followers there. That was so fun. I went with Maddie and my friend Sammy, and like Danny was there, Danny Austin. That was awesome. And I literally left the conference, packed up, went to Italy for about 10 days, and that was an amazing trip. I'm so thankful I got to go. Italy has been on my bucket list for so long, and got to go to Italy with some friends, quality friends from California. Just had some good girl time. And then I spent 3 days by myself at the end, which was so scary in a foreign country, not speaking the language, but I got to pray for some people, which was really cool. I got to share the gospel with this guy on the train. That was really cool. We literally used Google Translate and got to kind of share that with him a little bit. And it was just a really, really fun trip, and just kind of a challenge. Like, I liked the challenge of traveling alone, seeing if I could do it, confidence in myself, confidence in trusting the Lord that he would take care of me and nothing would happen to me. And it was really, really fun. So super thankful I got to go to Italy. And then this was the month where I traveled so freaking much. It was like Awaken, and then it was Italy. Then I went to Nashville for this one conference, went to Atlanta, went to Ohio. Like, I think I traveled, and I think I went to Austin. It was literally 6 travels in 1 month. It was like probably the craziest month ever. Hi, my neighbors are waving at me. Anyway, they wave back now. Normally my neighbors don't wave back, but that was sweet. It was like this cute little couple, and they stared at me and I waved back. So it was kind of awkward, but I just did it anyway. Didn't have a choice. Anyway, and so that was like the craziest travel month for me, and I realized I cannot do that to myself again. I don't want to do that to myself again. I do love traveling, but it completely threw off everything. My sleep, I started having more anxiety, my workout schedule, my food, my work, everything. I was like, okay, I love traveling, but I cannot consistently do this. However, when I went to Italy, one of the biggest takeaways, sorry, that was not right. When I went to Nashville, I went to this conference called the Next Gen Summit, and it was a bunch of like leaders and pastors and speakers and just all these like really cool people that really inspired me and challenged me. And this was when I was really struggling with some stuff work-wise and insecurities there. And I just remembered that one of the speakers there said something that God is not in a rush. God is not in a hurry. You cannot find God when you're hurrying. Relevancy is not found in hurrying. Like if you want to stay quote unquote relevant, or if you want to stay sustainable with your mental health, your energy, your faith, everything, you cannot constantly be rushing and hurrying. And that's something that I've always kind of prided myself in, was like, I rush and I have a busy schedule and I'm a girl boss and I can do this and I can do that. And I started this business and I did this, whatever. And realizing that like, that's like very unhealthy in a lot of ways. And that's why I really was thankful for that one episode I did with Ruth Chow Simons. We talked about the obsession with like hustle culture and how that's dangerous. So definitely go check that out. I realized like that was me when she was doing that episode. I was like, that is me. Like I'm obsessed with the hustle culture and it's unhealthy. And so that conference really helped me be like, okay, how can I be more intentional to slow down and to really take care of myself and spend time with the Lord and be more intimate with him, and that I'm going to burn out. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to really like just not be sustainable and take care of myself if I keep rushing and hurrying all the time, just trying to be go, 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 go. You have to really step back and think about, is what I'm creating, is what I'm doing, does this matter? Is this actually impacting someone? Does this help? Is this beneficial? Like, does this bring me life? Does this bring me joy? Versus just rushing around and hurrying just to hurry. And so sometimes it's like we're all creating all this motion and doing things, and it's like, what are you actually creating and doing in the end? Like, what is the actual result of that? And so that was really helpful to just really take a step back and be like, wow, like if you're like always constantly rushing and hurrying, it's very unhealthy. And that's why the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer, was so staple for me. And he was there, actually. He spoke at that conference, which it was really cool to hear from him first and foremost. And so that was just really, really cool. So then I also went to Atlanta for a passion conference thing as well. And I also went to Ohio to visit my sister. That was fun. And that was just a very busy month. I'm very thankful for the travel, but also I realized that it can be very damaging on your body as well. Next is October. So what was really fun about October was that was when I finally finished my house. Oh my gosh, you guys. Like if you're watching the video, if you saw the YouTube video, I have a whole house tour on my Jeanine YouTube channel. Finished my house. My house honestly looked really dumpy before. It wasn't like very bad, but it just was not my style. It was not what I wanted anymore. I had outgrown the style. And so I finally finished the house. All the furniture was back ordered. So it all came in that day. I had a team like come and help me like set it all up and decorate. And I mean, it has just been the biggest blessing, like hosting now, having family and having a ton of friends in town for Maddie's book party, which we also had in the month of October. So a ton of friends stay with us. And it has just been like a weight off my shoulder, because before I feel like I would come home and I'd be like, this doesn't feel like home, because it's like messy and it's not really what I want. It feels unsettled. And now my home feels settled. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so, so thankful for that. So that has still been the biggest blessing. I still come home and I'm like, wow, this is my home. I'm so thankful for it, so grateful. And I feel like I'm at home, and it's a big blessing. So yeah, like I was saying, October, we had Maddie's book party. So we had a ton of friends come in town for that. We had a huge party for her. It was so fun. I'm so proud of her for her book. And also what was really, really cool the month of October, this was probably my favorite thing. This is when I started kicking off the speaking engagements. I spoke 3 different times, once at a church in Dallas, once at a church in Lubbock, Texas, and also at a Christian camp in Pennsylvania. So I was traveling and speaking, and I just kept asking the Lord, like, why God me? Like, why am I equipped? And I know this is kind of how the enemy comes. He comes to try to disqualify you and make you think that you're not good enough or qualified enough, or that God didn't really call you to that, and discourage you. And so I started speaking at these churches, and it was just so cool. And everyone would just be like, wow, Jay, like, you have a gift. And I was like, wait, what? Like, really? Like, thank you. And it was just such a really cool thing to see the impact. And because here's the thing, like with a podcast, with YouTube, like I am just filming a YouTube video. You guys are watching my face. It's always behind the camera. I don't actually get to meet with you guys, see your interactions. I don't get to see how you guys respond, if you like it, if you don't. In person, you can genuinely interact and engage with the audience. You can see, hey, this is working, it's not working. What do they think? Are they laughing? Are they clapping? Are they crying? Are they moved by the spirit? Like, it was just so cool. And just to get to meet people afterwards, of them just coming up and sharing their stories with me and asking for advice and getting to hug you guys, so freaking cool. And I just feel like that's like a next thing that I feel like the Lord has brought me into, is starting to speak now. And I'm going to speak at the, this is really cool. In December 1st, I'm going to be speaking for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, which I'm so excited about. And there's been other speaking engagements that I have been contacted about. And so it seems like 2021 brought a new thing that the Lord wanted me to do. I was never like, I'm going to start speaking, but it's been really cool just to see the provision. And it was just funny that it was literally 3 weekends back to back. But the Lord moved. I mean, I saw people get healed. I saw people get broken free from addictions. I saw people confess things. I just saw people be like, thank you so much. And it's, again, it is not me. It is by the grace of God. I'm so thankful that God has given me the voice and my story and my testimony that so many people can relate to, because I'm realizing more and more and more that my story, everything that I went through, is not wasted. You know, what the enemy meant to intend to hurt you, God uses for his good. And so my testimony, my story, like all the things I've been through, it is now so evident to be like, wow, God, like, I know I chose that. I know that was like sin. I know that wasn't good. That brought me further away from you. But now you're using it to help other people, to bless other people, to set other people free. And that was just so cool to see that. And so it was just very tangible evidence of God's glory and just who he is. And so that was really cool. I'm very thankful for the speaking engagements, and I love those. And it was just so crazy that it was like all in 1 month. It was so fun though. And yeah, and then the last month is November, which is where we are right now. And I know I'm missing like a ton of stuff, but I don't want this podcast literally being an hour long. November is where we are now. I started off the month by going to Florida with Tarte Cosmetics, which was the first influencer brand deal trip I have done in years, since COVID. Even before that, like, this was the first influencer trip, and I was like, whoa, like, this is what this is like again. Like, I haven't done an influencer YouTuber trip in so long. And so that was really fun and really cool. And I'm really thankful for Tarte for flying me out and some of my friends. That was super fun. I feel like November is when I stayed home a lot. And so I got really consistent with my workouts. I've been picking up bar classes and I've been loving that. So I got to try out some new workouts. I got to try this new power sculpting class, been loving that. And I'm feeling really just confident in myself again and my abilities. I love pushing myself in the gym. And so this month was really fun for me to push myself more in the gym and just also like try out new things and try out new classes. I also went to a wedding this month. I also just came back from LA and Temecula celebrating my best friend's bachelorette weekend. That was so fun. Her wedding's going to be in South Africa in January, which is also why I'm going to be taking a break, because I'm going to be there for like almost 2 weeks. And so I really want to be present there, and that'll just be a big travel. Then Maddie and I also got to decorate for Christmas early. So we were just like, we got to start decorating. So like literally November 19th, we decorated the entire house. Check out the YouTube video on that. It'll be probably posted already by the time you are listening to this. So check out how we decorated the house for Christmas. That was so freaking fun. And last but not least, I hosted Thanksgiving at my house. The first year I've ever hosted it. I had my entire family. Well, actually, we were missing 3 siblings, but all the family that was in town had everyone, all the kids. And it was just so cool to see the Lord's provision and just how I had always dreamt of hosting and dreamt of having people stay with me and just having dinner there and having my entire family just loving it. I bought a ton of games for my backyard. I bought like cornhole and bocce ball. And like there's this other game where you like throw the rope and it has to go on the top rack. There's like 3 racks. I don't know if you guys don't know what that is, but got that game. And it was just so fun to see my nieces and nephews just like loving, like playing at the house. And I was like, wow, God, like this is what I prayed for. I was super, super thankful for that. And so November has just been really fun. I felt very good this month and very peaceful this month. And actually, really quickly, October, I missed this. October is when I was dealing with, again, crazy anxiety, like for a week straight. And I posted about it on my social media. All these people were coming out being like, oh my gosh, you're not crazy. I'm dealing with it. Something's coming. I kept feeling like something is coming. Like we need to be praying and being prepped and in the word and in God's word and whatever. And obviously it was right before Halloween. So maybe that was why, because it was Halloween and Halloween's a very dark day. But then also the Travis Scott stuff happened, and that has just been deeply disturbing me. Like I haven't been looking into it as much anymore. And I made a whole podcast about this. Spiritual warfare, go check that out on my thoughts on that. But that was just a crazy month where I was like, why do I have so much anxiety? So listen to my thoughts on all of that in that last podcast. So that was kind of a weird month. But now here we are today. It is Thanksgiving Day. I'm so thankful, so much to be thankful for. Again, like I mentioned, thankful for you guys, all the things I've talked about this year. Some things, again, that I've just learned this year is I'm trying to learn better, but I learned more rest, taking a break, saying no, setting boundaries. Again, how important friends are, who are my friends, but also realizing that you really do need to be asking friends for accountability, for prayer, praying for other friends, being in a Bible study, being mentored. It's just all very, very important. I think dating, I really learned, I feel like even more this year, just my value, what I'd want, all the things I've prayed for. Like if I'm going to encourage you guys in anything, be prayerful for your future spouse, what you want, ask God, but be the person you're looking for. And just know that dating and marriage is not going to solve everything. It will bring out other insecurities, other things that you have not dealt with. So listen to all my other dating podcasts because I've talked about this. I just realized how important it is to be healthy and to know yourself and to be secure in the Lord and just to know your worth and your value, what you want and who you are and your identity in Christ, because that really shapes everything you do. Like I've learned this so much. Identity is everything. It shapes everything you do, all the decisions, how you see yourself, how you see God. I mean, truly, like you have to get your identity from Christ because that will affect everything you do. And I really believe I learned that even more this year. And also just amidst all of that, having mentors and just living a life full of integrity and living in the light and keeping things open and all that stuff, letting people in, accountability, being honest about struggles, all that stuff. Overall, just how God hears your prayers, how nothing is an accident, how even though you might have prayed for something 3 years ago, like God can bring it into fruition 3 years down the road, 2 years down the road. So never cease to pray, seek God, abide in him, trust him. Like, do not lose hope. Do not lose faith. Like, there's going to be hard seasons in your life and in every single month, but I do believe with God, all things are possible. I don't know who I would be without God in my life. I'm so thankful for him. He is truly the reason why this year felt so blessed and why I had so much peace and abundance, because he is the God of peace and the God of abundance. And so thankful for him this year. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do without him. And so it's just really cool to see all the things I've prayed for, all the obedience I've tried to have for him come into fruition in the ways that he's blessed me and opened doors and shut other doors. And that's just been really, really cool to see this year. And so those are some things I've learned going forward. Before I wrap up, I just have some other prayers and things that I'm wanting for 2022 is, more speaking engagements and some other projects of things that I'm currently working on right now. So just blessings on that, and I'll announce that down the road. But just that, and I would love to just make some, more merch and stuff like that, and have some more meetups for the Abide Tribe. The Abide Tribe was also a big blessing for me. It's just seeing that community and how the Lord's been working in that. And so if you're part of the Abide Tribe, love you guys so much. If you're not, it's a Facebook page for women to find community in your city and have a safe place to talk to anyone. It's a Facebook page linked down below. So that's been a huge blessing. I started back up Bible studies for that once a month, so go check that out. And the last two things is, actually three, is just intimacy with the Lord. I'm going to be praying for more intimacy with the Lord even going forward, just to really know his voice, hear him, take time apart from life and travel and work and the hustle and bustle, and just really sit with the Lord. And it's so valuable, you guys. And so I just want even more intimacy with God going forward. And next, I'm hoping for marriage. That truly am. That's been a prayer request of mine for a while, as I'm praying for marriage. Whether that's next year or even a year down the road or like 2023, I don't know, but I'm very hopeful and prayerful for marriage. That's something that my heart's always desired ever since I was little. And I don't think that's a bad marriage. I don't think that's a bad desire. So be prayerful for that. And I've been prayerful for that as well. Last but not least, something that I really want to do in 2022 is just really honoring the secret place even more. So really doing more things offline and mentorships and mentoring girls and serving back at the church and finding really where is the church that I'm supposed to be plugged into, consistently being in the body of Christ, plugging in more, serving there, mentoring young girls, and doing that not for approval, not for claps online, not for people to be like, go Jeanine, you're doing amazing. Like really in the hard place and the tough place, just honoring God before him first and foremost, not for approval, not for people online to be like, job well done, Jay. And so really honoring the secret place and just who I think God wants me to be and how he wants to develop me in the private times offline. And so I really want to be more intentional about perhaps mentoring some girls offline and just serving at church and trying to get back into that, because I didn't actually find the exact church I wanted to plug into this year, and that was really hard. And I'm always preaching find a church, get plugged in, serve. And I wholeheartedly still believe that. But that is something that I did not do perfectly this year that I really want to be better at next year. That is a top priority for me, is find a church, get plugged in, serve, all that stuff. And so even though I was still going to church, my travel took so much away from consistently being in a body of Christ and a Bible study. And so I really want to make sure I am prioritizing that in 2022. And I want to encourage you guys to do that as well. So you guys, it has been 45 minutes. This podcast is quite long, but you guys, it has been an amazing, amazing year. Of course, with highs and lows, not everything I could share. Of course, there's things I deal with a ton offline, insecurities and doubts and worries and crying and fears and all these other things. But overall, I can just say God is so good. I am so honored I serve a good God and a God that loves me and a God that loves you. And I have so many podcasts to help you with your faith. If you're confused or if you're like, who is this God she talks about? And he's real. He loves you. He wants to know you. He wants to bring you life. He doesn't want to rip you off from having fun. He just wants to bless you and give you life by following him and seeking him. And that's what I want to keep doing the rest of my entire life. So this year has been really fun. Obviously, Christmas is coming up. So there's still an entire month of December and January that I will not be obviously posting on here. But please follow my YouTube channel, which is Jeanine Amapola, as well as my Instagram, where you guys can still keep up with me these next 2 months. And I will be doing all the updates on there, vlogs, Instagrams, everything of that sort. So if you want to keep up with me, the links are all down below, and they're just all Jeanine Amapola. And yeah, I'm super excited to come back for season 3, you guys. I'll have more fun guests, more fun, exciting things coming. So please stay tuned. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys soon. I know these next 2 months are going to feel very long, and I'm going to miss you guys every single Tuesday, but I will be back. We'll be back stronger than ever. And thank you guys so much for an incredible 2021. I love you guys. I'm praying blessings and favor over your life, that you come to know Jesus in such a deep, intimate way. You abide with him, that your Thanksgiving was good and your Christmas is even better. And I love you guys so much. Until then, ooh, I'm sad. Until then, you guys, stay happy and healthy. Peace out, Girl Scout. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching today. Bye.